and then minor penalty just for the Russian coach's face.
His eyebrows kept taking me out. Like, it just kept taking me out. And I was like, this has to be, like, cartoonish overkill. Like, the guy probably had big eyebrows, so they did this. I looked it up. It's spot on.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's, like, it's spot on. He's
Yeah.
just got caterpillars on his head.
Oh, that's
He
good.
looks like the Lorax, bro. He's going to be a fucking train wreck.
Welcome to the gray area. My name's Greg. That's Ray. This is Tom.
I'm Tom.
And Paul's behind the camera. Woo. Normally we are here to drink beer and talk about sports, but we're going to do something a little different this week.
All right, so today we're actually going to sit around and talk about a sports movie. So since hockey is such a staple of the podcast, and the Olympics is happening currently, and we know this is a Winter Olympics sport, don't jump down our throats, we're going to talk about the 2004 movie Miracle. Let's get after it.
Oh, I ruined that. My beer wasn't in my hand.
Too, that could have been epic.
Yeah, well, next time.
We'll figure it out.
Sorry.
We'll
All
get
right,
there.
Tom,
We'll get there.
take it away, brother.
Yeah, so do you guys just want to like talk about how this came to be? We were talking about basically ideas for the pod. We were like, well, we should probably I had the idea of like covering sports movies, seeing that it's like the heydays of summer where there's like not too many sports
Nothing
going on.
it's kinda dead.
Yeah.
And I mean, now there's the Olympics. Which have you guys been watching the Olympics?
Yeah,
Yes.
portions of it.
Mostly gymnastics and volleyball because
As
that's
much
the
as I
only.
can.
Biles
Well, that's the
crushing.
only thing they put on regular TV.
Yeah.
And swimming.
That's true. I have Peacock, so I'm just like watching every sport. I was watching handball last night, which just looks
That's
like
cool.
It just looks like a game that you make up and play in your backyard.
Handball's so fun.
It's awesome.
Handball's so fun.
And like, I don't know. There's something about the Olympics that I love where it's like, with like regular sports like the NBA or something, you say things like, oh man, the Detroit Pistons suck. Ray? Does that check out?
Yeah, they were the worst team in the league. You're spot on.
I know they had a historic
Don't you watch the
losing streak.
podcast?
I do watch the podcast.
I'm pretty sure one of our episodes was named Poopy Pistons, so we got that.
that
we
was
got that
I'm pretty
covered.
sure that was
Yeah.
episode 2.
But my point is, like, American sports, you're like, man, the Detroit Pistons suck. But with, like, the Olympics, you're like, man,
This whole country
suck in Finland. It's just like...
I watched USA lose to Poland in 3v3 basketball. Actually, sorry, it's 3x3 is what they call it.
I love it.
Really quick.
I
Not
just-
3v3.
I just want to say really quick, I love that this is possibly the episode to make a whole country hate this podcast.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
continue.
dude. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Do we need Finland on our side?
I'm
I
not
don't
saying we
think
need
so.
Finland, but
I
I'm
don't think
just
they
saying.
make up any of our 33 subscribers, so I think we're okay.
I don't know where I was
If
going
we're
with
wrong,
that.
please comment.
The one thin guy in the comments.
I don't know where I was going with that. That is just to say that, like, there's something really satisfying about watching teams lose in the Olympics, and it's just representative of entire country.
Oh,
Just
that's
like
so sad.
Norway took
Awesome.
an L, the country took an L.
It's going to bleed into what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
I just hate when China wins stuff. It
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
I understand.
Yeah, they're good at stuff,
Understand.
though.
I know.
And
kind of.
and it's not for nothing that like Russia is currently banned from the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which this movie just proves that Russia has not been able to just chill for 45 years. It's been a problem for the Olympics specifically for 45 years. So yeah, we're here to talk about the 2004 Disney film Miracle. Obviously,
Greatest movie ever made.
greatest movie ever. Okay, spoilers.
Wild.
It's the film about the 1980 USA Olympic hockey team and their coach, Herb Brooks, focused around the titular Miracle on Ice, arguably the greatest sports moment ever.
Yeah,
Top
oh, yeah.
5 at
At
least.
least in
Gotta
American
be,
history.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for America, no doubt about that.
Olympics for sure.
Well,
Possibly just all sports all around.
It was huge.
I think so. Greg, you're the reason we're doing this as the first movie is because Greg's the hockey guy.
I like hockey.
So like, does this the Miracle on Ice? Obviously,
no, this is my favorite American sports moment,
yeah.
like of all time.
Okay, hell
and I
yeah.
wasn't even alive during it, but
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
If
And
you
it's,
were, you look great for your age.
and it's also really great that there's like this movie because like looking up the footage of the like TV broadcast on YouTube, it's like filmed on a
So,
potato?
Actually,
filmed on an
so
LG Razor.
when I was
On a
I was
toaster.
rewatching this, and I was watching it on my computer, and I pulled up the actual game footage side by side. And I'll get to this later, but I was comparing plays as they would do stuff in the game. I was watching it. I was finding it in the actual game.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was
Ooh.
comparing to see how accurate it was. And I won't spoil anything.
All right. We'll get into it. So I'm just gonna cover some background on the movie. So directed by Gavin O'Connor, who is not the most prolific director of all time, but he does have 3 sports movies under his belt. He's got Miracle, he's got Warrior, 2011. Warrior,
Tom Hardy movie?
that movie rules.
That movie does fuck. That movie's incredible.
Please say like Mike. Please say like Mike.
Not like Mike, unfortunately.
Is it any of the Airbuds?
We'll cover that later too.
Paul's a psychic?
So he did Miracle, Warrior, and The Way Back, which is the Ben Affleck is like an alcoholic high school basketball coach movie.
I haven't seen that.
I heard it's like okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So that's the director. The producer, however, is a guy named Mark Ciardi. And the thing about Mark Ciardi is he played in the MLB in 1987 for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was part of a season-opening 13-game winning streak, which is still a record that stands for like biggest season-opening winning streak, tied only by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
That was recent, wasn't it?
I think it was in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that Tampa tied it? I don't know when they tied it.
I thought that was recent.
But it like still stands. That's the producer. And this Mark Ciardi, this movie producer, is low-key the GOAT of sports movie producing. The titles he has under his belt:
Lay him out.
The Rookie in 2002.
Oh, yes.
Incredible.
Dennis Quaid, old guy,
Yeah.
becomes a pitcher
Just
for
throws heat.
the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Ooh, that's
There's
why
a
he
connection
did it.
right there. So 2002, The Rookie. Miracle, 2004. Invincible, 2005.
Oh, so good.
Mark Wahlberg plays for the Eagles. The Game Plan. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a football player or coach that babysits or something.
Familiar with the movie.
Is that what that movie is?
Yeah, that's it.
This one's not a sports movie, but The Rock is still an athlete. He also directed Tooth Fairy in 2010.
Oh, dear God. Okay, so first strike. Continue.
When you said game plan, actually, that was the movie that popped in my head.
They're
yeah.
I feel like they're
Same-
basically
it's
the
the
same
same
movie.
It's just
I don't
him
know
and
if
a
I've
kid.
ever actually seen
That's
either.
the only reason you guys are saying that, because you've seen the poster and it's him and a kid.
So Tooth Fairy 2010. Secretariat 2010.
Okay. So like the GOAT.
Isn't that the horse
racing
movie?
The horse movie.
It's either that or Seabiscuit. but
Seabiscuit is
Secretariat's-
better.
Yeah.
Fun fact about my dad: for some reason, my dad just loves Secretariat. Moving on.
Thanks for that tidbit.
I didn't know what to say.
I love to learn more about my friends.
$1 Million Arm. That's like a girl baseball pitching movie.
Unfamiliar with
2014.
So not real.
it. Good.
Tough. McFarland USA 2015. That's like a Kevin Costner track movie or something like that. The Miracle Season, which
USA.
is like a made-for-TV volleyball movie. The Way Back, and American Underdog, the Kurt Warner movie.
He did that?
Okay.
He did that. So he's had quite a career of producing sports movies.
You were about to scoff at that, and you stopped
No,
yourself.
I never saw the movie. I just saw the
Okay.
trailer, and it just looked like it was shot on the worst camera they
It was
could find.
fine.
It kind of looked like an SNL spoof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Like
fuzzy.
Andy Samberg might have popped up at any
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
He probably
I
should
don't
have.
The movie might have been better.
It wasn't bad, but
didn't
that's
see
not
it.
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the movie was released in February 2004. Notably, it's still kind of riding like the post 9/11 like patriotism thing.
course.
I think that's like a big part of this
1997.
movie is like putting what?
Was that the 24-year anniversary then? Because
It would've been,
It
yeah,
happened
if
in
it was in the
happened in
80s, yeah.
February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I guess it was. But anyway, that's all. It's just like definitely riding like post 9/11 patriotism
Of course.
in a big way.
Sure.
You can tell.
$28 million budget, gross $64 million, modest hit. Released ahead of the 2004 Athens Summer Olympics. Which, do you know anything notable about the 2004 Athens Summer Olympics?
I can't say I do. That might have been the one where Vince Carter jumped over that 7-foot-tall Frenchman, but that also might have been in 2000. So it's one of those.
I know yours would be all just related to basketball.
Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't Michael Phelps, was it? He was after that.
That was Michael
It was
Phelps'
Michael Phelps.
debut.
Okay.
Okay,
in 04?
okay, that's
It was
right.
04, and he got
08's
I
when
knew
he
it's
crushed.
yeah.
He got 8 medals
Yeah.
in 04,
Oh, okay,
which
so
he
he
got
crushed
8
in 04
medals
too.
in 08, but in 08 they were all gold. In
Right.
04 they
Okay.
were like a mix.
There it is. Got it.
Also the debut of one Usain Bolt in
Oh,
the Olympics.
yes, I remember that.
The GOAT, Usain
Yeah.
Bolt.
Yeah.
dude runs so fast his muscle tears off his bones. Like
It should have.
Oh God, I forgot that happened.
It didn't happen, but
they did a sports science where he
Oh,
ran
that's
so
right.
fast it
Yeah.
should happen,
Yeah.
but apparently he's an X-Man, so it doesn't happen.
That's right. Interesting.
he went to Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted.
I mean, he might as well. There's some Olympians where you're like, that's not. Like Simone Biles, for instance, it's just like you see her jump from the ground and she's just like 25 feet in the air.
Did you watch Katie Ledecky today?
Yeah, she
won
dusted
the,
everybody.
She won the gold in the 1,500 meter freestyle.
By
That's
like
it's a mile.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
by like 30 seconds or something like that.
It was like 10 seconds. But
Either
yeah,
way, who cares? It's
it
a
was
goal.
insane.
I said what I said. It was 30 seconds.
It was 45 minutes. She beat them. They weren't even off the blocks and she was done.
Lovely.
Okay. So should we go into like the production of the movie, or do you have any like background on the Miracle on Ice itself?
I mean, a little bit of history. I mean,
Yeah.
so the game took place kind of during the height of the Cold War. And
which the movie,
yeah,
the opening credits of the
It
movie
does a really good job
Yeah.
at setting the scene.
spoiler alert, the USA beats the Soviets, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, right.
in the
So
Cold
that
War
happened.
or in the game.
No, we won in the Cold War. We won the
won.
game though.
But I'm just going to read my notes because this is the best way I can do this.
Yeah.
So it took place during the height of the Cold War. It represented a victory in kind of the cultural Cold War between democracy and communism. Washington and Moscow saw it as a competition between their two systems, the democracy and communism, seeing which one could produce the better athletes. Gerald Ford wrote, I don't know of a better advertisement for a nation's good health than a healthy athletic representation. So the Soviets had been dominating sports on the world stage for like 17 years or something prior to this.
Yeah.
And their hockey team was just unbeatable. They were good at everything.
The last time the USA won anything was in 1960 when we took the gold, and then we just kept getting our asses beat until
The Soviets were the
80,
first.
Yeah.
The Soviets were the first team to beat USA basketball. Like they were the
I
first.
saw that.
They were the
They
first
showed that at
team
the
that ever
beginning,
beat
too.
them.
Yeah.
Which
So-
it's also, the movie also does a really good job of like, oh my God, this Russian hockey team is terrifying.
Yeah.
Which is like,
They're pretty scary. I watched the game. They're pretty scary during that too. They kind of look.
Yeah, what did they
kinda
say
look
in the
pretty
movie?
similar.
It's just like, don't any of these guys ever smile? And it's like
Yeah.
they're Russian. If they smile, they get shot. That's,
which we'll get to it later. But we'll get to it later. But even the Russian coach, who's just like the most,
Oh,
he's just a
yeah,
human
yeah.
gargoyle.
Dude's hard.
Mr. Eyebrows. I got something to say about him later too.
I was gonna say, is this actual game the reason why the Russians are always the bad guys in the movies?
Probably.
And just real life. Like,
I
what are
think-
you talking
yeah,
about?
the world,
Yeah.
maybe.
But yeah, that's kind of the background why the game was important to people. The citizens, the countries themselves. Yeah, it kind of gave the U.S. hope too. I think the people, like the U.S. citizens, were kind of feeling run down. They were mad at the government. The Vietnam War was going on. Watergate was going on.
The late 70s was a very tough time
Yeah.
for everybody, but especially Americans, and you could tell that they were just looking for a scrap of hope, and they covered that very well in the movie.
Yeah.
And this was it. This
And that
is what
opening,
they got.
just going back to the opening credit scene, it's just like, dang, the 70s were wild. Like, granted, like, our current times are pretty wild as
Sure,
well. So
yeah.
in 40 years, there will probably be a movie
Well,
about something
it's-
going on now, and we'll have this news montage of the news right now.
Yeah.
But like looking at like the highlights of like
I
the
was-
world news
yeah.
in the 70s, it's like, God dang.
Gas crisis, Vietnam.
crisis, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
just all that stuff.
actually thinking about that today, about how we're living in a wild time, but spread out over 10 years, it doesn't seem that wild because we're living in it. But as soon as you pull out those highlight moments,
Yeah,
those headlines, which is exactly what they did.
It'll look insane.
Yeah, it looked like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is the worst week of the history of the world. but-
Right.
But it wasn't the week. It was the decade.
It's the
so.
decade of the 70s, yeah.
You got anything else about the actual?
And no, that's
game itself?
that's really it.
Okay. So just a little bit about the production of the movie. So the director and the producer just set out to make a movie about what Gavin O'Connor, the director, said was the greatest moment in sports in the 20th century. Instantly, they knew Kurt Russell was the man to play Herb Brooks,
Checks out.
which
He's
is
perfect.
incredible.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because they needed a former athlete who was passionate for sports. Fun fact, Kurt Russell is the uncle of Matt Franco, who played 8 seasons in the MLB for the Mets.
I did not know that.
Production of the movie, they cast real hockey players stating that it would be easier to teach hockey players how to act than actors to play hockey.
That shows.
And there's
Yeah,
a few
that
times
shows.
we were like, okay, yeah, that's not an actor.
Dude, you could see the lettuce. You knew they were hockey players.
I was
You can't
actually
fake that.
I was actually really impressed by the style of play that they in the movie. It was very close, very conducive to the 80s style of play. Now,
Well-
we can get into that later.
Well, one, I didn't write this down, but I did see in my research that a company called Real Sports, I think it is, it's a company that just sets out to like help movies get accurate sports on film. And so I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they thought it was easier to teach hockey players to act than actors to play hockey. They held tryouts, not auditions. So they just had
That's
hockey
cool.
tryouts and a 6-week training camp teaching all the hockey players how to play in 30-year-old equipment.
Yeah.
Because that's like a different.
and that might be why
Yeah.
the rate of play was similar because they didn't have
They're
their high
clunkier.
high speed
and
gear.
the goalie alone has to learn how to play a completely different style of hockey because
true.
they're standing up.
well,
In
so,
04, you
but
can
it's
still
so
butterfly.
But it's so
yeah.
crazy.
Well, in the 80s you could still butterfly. The butterfly started happening in like the 60s.
Yeah, but Craig didn't butterfly.
No,
Craig
but
stood
he
up.
was diving.
Yeah, he was diving.
So
A lot of the shots, it looks like he's just falling.
Yeah,
if you
all the
watch-
saves, yeah.
if you watch hockey from like the 40s or
They're
50s,
just straight up standing
they
up.
don't fall,
Yeah.
they don't flop, they don't butterfly, anything like that. It's completely different. You actually weren't allowed to.
But it's also just so crazy that they like are playing in the like era accurate equipment because like some of these shots like at one point in the movie O'Connor comes off the bench, goes straight across the ice and just demolishes some Russian.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a real hit. Like
Oh, yeah.
they
used to
did
hit-
this.
They used to hit a lot harder than
I'm just saying even for the production of the movie, just like somebody hit somebody and they filmed it. It's crazy. Okay, all the hockey was filmed at the Pacific Coliseum, former home of the Canucks, and the PNE Agrodome, which is an arena in British Columbia that is used for a bunch of stuff. It's like an all-purpose arena for like basketball.
Cool.
Hosted the Vancouver Whitecaps, NWA Wrestling, but most importantly, it is where every entry in the Mighty Ducks franchise was filmed.
classic. So, they just reused the same.
iconic
yeah.
ice right
Awesome.
there.
Yeah.
I knew it looked familiar.
Al Michaels, our boy Al Michaels, re-recorded most of his in-game broadcast for the film, but he refused to re-record his iconic "Do You Believe in Miracles" line because he's like, I can never top that. Also, his voice is so much different.
Well, they just played it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they
'cause
didn't.
they didn't?
He re-recorded it at the very, very end. If you listen closely, they fade out from the good audio of him talking to the original audio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
talking
It
about.
like fades in, but it's just that one line. It's
Yeah.
not the whole game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, that's
Okay.
what we're referring to.
Yeah, that was the original call
'Cause I
he
noticed
said he
that.
couldn't recreate it.
No, that was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A downer note about this movie is that Herb Brooks died 6 months before
He
this
never
movie
got
was
to see
released,
it.
and he never got to see
He
it.
saw like tests. Didn't he see pieces of it?
I'm
Just
sure
not
he
the
saw
whole
it. I'm
thing?
sure he was
Yeah.
involved in the production somehow, but he never
I'm sure
got
he
to
was
see the funniest thing.
consulting. Yeah.
It's a shame. And then last but not least, this movie did win the 2004 ESPY for Sports Movie of the Year,
Nice.
which seems like a silly distinction, but if you look at the competition in 2004, the other sports movies released in 2004, Friday Night Lights,
Yep.
good movie, $1 Million Baby,
Oh, that's a great movie.
Academy Award winning,
Yeah.
Mr. 3000. I feel like you're a big Mr. 3000
Are you
guy.
kidding me? Bernie Mac?
That should have won.
Dodgeball,
Great movie.
That should have
movie.
won.
Great
and
movie.
last but
Damn
not
it.
least, MXP Most Extreme Primate. So
Oh,
that
good.
was
Thanks.
the stiff competition.
Thanks for throwing that one in there.
I don't remember that one. Is it a monkey playing football or something?
It's a
It's
monkey.
monkey snowboarding.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
snowboarding.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Walking through
So
Blockbuster,
silly.
seeing just the monkey shredding. Yeah, I remember the cover.
Nice. So yeah, we can just get in. We devised a little questionnaire just to like have these in our mind as we watch the movie. How this movie come to be. We just covered that. Greg covered the real world, like how this slots into the real world history of sports. All I have written down for that is Russia has never been able to just chill.
I do actually. I have another comment on that. This isn't really history, but it kind of goes back to me and Ray. We always talk about how we hate Boston, and they do a really good job at the beginning of the movie, talking about the rivalry between Minnesota and Boston. Literally, one of the opening scenes when they're when they're all gathering for the tryouts. Jim Craig says, a lot of guys from Minnesota and Boston, and Jack O'Callahan sarcastically replies with, yeah, that's going to work. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
he just knew.
They also straight up in that car scene when they're like stuck in traffic going to get gas, they compare the Minnesota and Boston guys to the United States and Russia in a Cold War. So they weren't even hiding that. They 100%
But
did that on purpose.
I chuckled out loud when he goes, yeah, that's going to work, because I didn't remember that line, and then I was like, oh, God, we all hate Boston, even though Jack O'Callahan played for Boston. But
We hate Boston in like sports, especially like being St. Louis sports fans.
Well, I think
but like I love Boston in movies.
Oh,
So
sure.
and like a great thing about like hockey is like the accent work.
oh, yeah.
Excellent
Oh, yeah.
accent
Oh, they
work
did
in
a
this
great job.
movie. Yeah, what else? I didn't have anything else under.
just made me laugh because we're not the
Sliding
only
history.
ones that don't like Boston.
It's everybody but Boston.
Yeah.
for
I
the
I think a
most
lot of
part.
Bostonians hate other Bostonians.
Yeah, that's
Fair
fair,
enough,
too.
fair enough.
Angry people.
Yeah, so then we go on to, is this movie a good representation of why the sport of hockey is great? I think it's unequivocally
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think there's any argument to be made there.
And I've got a few reasons.
So do I.
Hit me.
Okay. I think they did a really good job of showing how fast-paced and hard contact the sport was.
Yep.
Their camera work, moving in and around the skaters quickly and stuff, like you almost felt like you were actually on the ice with
Yeah.
the guys. And you can feel the controlled chaos of the gameplay.
Yeah.
The shouting, the yelling, the hitting, the communication, trying to communicate over the crowd, blaring like.
It might be the most dynamic of the main four sports. I think it is the most
Yeah.
dynamic of the main four sports, and they capture that really well. When they're on
I
the
was
ice.
I was really impressed with the speed, the style, and the play of the game in the movie versus real life, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like I said, I watched the game so like side by side with the final game in the movie.
Yeah, that's why like because all I wrote. Can we curse? Can I curse?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, whatever.
One of the reasons this movie is a good representation of why hockey is great. I just wrote hockey is so fucking hard.
It is.
And this movie like really like shows how hard like that drill that they're doing throughout the whole movie.
Where
what are they called? I think they call them Herbies.
They call them Herbies, where they're going.
Yeah.
like,
They're suicides. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But like, oh my
Full-
god,
Full ice though. I
Oh
think
my
he, like,
God.
was
Yeah.
the guy that started that.
yeah, it just looks so hard, and like Herb Brooks's like mentality of like we may not be the most talented hockey team in the world, but we're gonna be the best conditioned.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
the movie
line-
really lays into that.
There's a line directly about that I thought was super hard, and he goes, "Why are we doing this? Because the legs feed the wolf." And that was hard as
That's
fuck.
a bar.
That's insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was an awesome line.
So that's one reason hockey is so fucking hard. Another reason, the boys. Hockey's got
Oh,
the
yeah.
boys,
Yeah.
dude. Hockey players rule. The accents are hilarious. The interpersonal drama is hilarious. O'Callahan's got beef with, is it McClanahan?
Yeah.
Yes,
Which
it's
of
McClanahan.
course it is.
It's Jack and Rob.
There's-
I got a
yeah,
whole note
we
about
can-
them too.
When we get to the next section, we can talk about that.
I just think it's so funny that they have beef and like O'Callahan's just like, I mean, O'Callahan's kind of the hero of the movie in my opinion. I think he's got some of the best moments. He's kind of the only player that gets like a good chunk of screen time devoted just
Yeah.
to him.
OC, the guy they keep calling OC,
Yeah.
O'Callahan. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think there was a reason for that. I think he was part of the.
he's the dude that was feeding the director all the
Yeah,
information.
that's it.
So
Yeah.
he was like the main consultant for the stuff that happened on and off the ice.
Well, he made a
Okay.
joke too about how they're both Irish guys,
Yeah.
and then they picked
Yeah.
an Italian to play him, and they thought that was so funny.
Is he Italian? Interesting.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was. I was.
I don't know, but
Reading that.
like he has one of the moments in the movie where like he's hurt and then like he thinks Herb's gonna cut him,
And he doesn't.
and
yeah.
then he's like, "That's why I'm not gonna cut you, Herb." Or he doesn't call him Herb. OC.
Yeah. He's like, "You better not be messing with me right
Yeah,
now, man."
he's like, I swear to God, Herb. I swear to God.
And he doesn't slip on his crutches on
Yeah,
the
and
ice.
then he crutches out into the middle of the ice. Wild. Reason number 3, specifically the Olympics. The Olympics rule. The USA rules. This movie does a great job of
yeah,
showing
they
that.
did a great job.
Like, you texted last night, like, I'm going to be the most patriotic man alive
For the next couple of days, yeah.
Which, like, this movie really does that. Because, like, I mean, I feel like the Olympics are kind of take it or leave it for, like, a lot of people. It's like, yeah, if they're on, I'm going to watch them. But, like, this movie's like, no, you know what? The Olympics are really doing something. And you know what? The USA is awesome. It's like a great
The
great
whole
example
movie's
of it.
about American, not necessarily exceptionalism, but scrappiness.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the whole movie.
yeah.
Yeah. And, like, innovation, too. Because,
Right.
like, I think in that first scene where Herb meets with like the Olympic Committee or whatever, he literally has the line like, "We're gonna change how the game is played,"
Yeah.
which is like you don't say that line in a movie, but it's equivalent to Tom Cruise throwing out the playbook.
Well, he
Top
wanted
Gun?
what did he wanted to take?
He wanted to take Russia and Canada and blend
the
their styles to
styles.
play.
the creativity of Canada
And the conditioning of
of Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But
was
reason number 4 is great. Just being the best. I mean, that's again with the Olympics. That's like the whole thing with the Olympics. But just being the best.
USA.
Listen to him. That's what you've done. So good. All right, fouls. I think you guys have some stuff for this. What did this movie get wrong, either from like a historical like accuracy point or just like whiffs that the movie makes?
We both have the same one for a historical inaccuracy, so I'll let you take that.
This is the first one.
Yeah.
So according to the players, the fight between Jack O'Callahan and Rob McClanahan, they didn't really happen. That the fight never happened. That was just them trying to show, I think, the rivalry between, like I said, Boston and Minnesota.
They use it as a narrative device.
And the guys not getting along, butting heads, not playing as a team. So that didn't happen.
So that would be a foul. But we're supposed to rank the fouls, right?
Well, I figured like since it's hockey, I feel like it's just minor or major penalties.
Yeah, it's not.
That's a minor.
That's
penalty.
It's a minor.
That should happen.
It did a lot for the movie.
It
Yeah.
progressed
So-
the plot and made them more. You saw where they started and where they ended, and
Yeah.
that was the whole.
I forget.
Point of that
Neither
scene.
McClanahan doesn't get cut, does he?
Neither.
No,
Both
he
of them
doesn't.
are on the
He's
team.
on the whole-
Cox
Yeah.
is the last one that gets cut.
Well, that kind of feeds into mine. Is that like I have a minor penalty making a PG movie centered around hockey
Yes.
players?
Yes, I agree.
You know the R-rated version of this movie would be awesome.
Even PG-13 would just be.
You've seen hockey players talk. You know
Oh
how
my
they
God.
talk to each other.
and it's the
gonna
best.
be
They curse so
motherfucker
creatively.
this,
Yeah.
cocksucker that. This was a lot like, it would be way less Mighty Ducks and way more Letterkenny.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it would be way
Yes.
more, yeah. So,
Shoresy?
but I understand, yeah.
And I wanna see
understand
that.
it's a PG movie and they wanted to make it like family friendly so everyone could experience
Go
it.
But if we could
Goon.
get like a director's cut that just has all language reinserted, because you know that like especially in the Miracle on Ice game, they're just like, "You Russian motherfucker!"
Yeah,
like
right.
You know,
100%.
that Boston accent.
yes.
You dusty fucking piece of shit. The fuck you think you're doing out here?
Even
You
the
think you're
people-
good enough to play in the show?
Yeah, the people in the crowd, the hecklers in the crowd,
Oh,
banging
yeah,
on the
yeah,
glass,
dude.
For
cussing at
sure.
The animosity would be insane.
And again, for national pride.
Of course.
You have another one?
Yeah, but it's more of like a movie thing and less of a hockey
Hit it.
thing. Every single scene, and I understand why they do it, but when it's Herb Brooks and his wife, I hated all of them.
That's my next one.
When they're fighting at home, and she's just like she immediately gets mad because he won't pick up a kid. He's literally coaching an Olympic hockey team. He's not going to have like time to do.
Yeah, I think
I
the
have a-
movie. I
have-
think the movie just didn't really need it.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was
Oh,
useless.
I do. I think it needed it, and I'll get that.
I understand the
I'll get that.
purpose.
I'll get to it
It's
later.
supposed to show like the stress on the home life and how dedicated
Yeah.
he was to what he was doing, and how it could have affected his family. But one, you never see his kids.
You do in the game.
No,
yeah.
he's,
When
no,
she's like,
at
and
the game.
before the game, there he's
Yeah.
like in an ice rink
All right,
drinking hot
I'm
chocolate.
going to spoil something. I'm
Okay,
going to
go
skip
ahead.
ahead because
Yeah.
at the end we have MVPs, and I actually think that she, in real life, IRL, his wife is an MVP.
Okay.
Where did I put that? Oh, she just doesn't get enough credit. She stuck with him even when he was a miserable asshole, which everybody said he was.
Sure.
That's
she-
that's another thing that like is a historical inaccuracy. Is all the players are like
Yeah.
Herb Brooks. He would never come to Christmas.
No,
he,
hell no.
He
sucked.
No, he treated her like trash. She put him in his place and stuck with him through it all. Not being home, not having time for the kids. She offered him sound advice at the end when he was feeling pressure before the Soviet game. Like, she was there. She was his rock that he didn't have because he's the coach.
Okay.
All the other players can console each other. They can console the assistant coach. He did not have that.
Well, that's because he was making himself the thing
Right.
they could unify around.
Right.
And I get
but,
that.
But he needed something, and his wife was that for him.
And in real life, that could be like that is true. But in the movie,
Yeah, I
they
think Ray and I are just talking about
yeah.
as a movie.
We're talking about the movie.
I think it needed to be in the movie somewhat. It was very minor.
but it was poorly done.
But okay,
Yeah.
fair.
yes.
If they
But
put
I-
it in the movie, it needed to be better.
Yeah, I agree.
because
It
as
paralleled-
it stands, it's just kind of like it's like the classic like movie trope of the guy is so brilliant and his wife's like, Herb, you need to pick up the kids from practice. And
Yeah,
it's like,
it was
it's
very
so
cheesy.
cliche
It was corny.
in terms of a
Fair
movie.
enough.
yeah.
I think it paralleled where he was with the team at the same time. At the
Yeah.
beginning, where the team is not they're butting heads. He's butting heads with his wife, and you
Yeah.
can see as the team starts to progress and become more of a team, he is starting to get that back with his wife. So
Yeah.
I think in that sense,
Yeah, I mean, he goes to the ice rink the night before the actual game, drink some hot chocolate. But no, I will say, like, so in that scene, in the first scene where you're like, it's like the nagging wife or whatever. It does Kurt Russell kind of pulls it off, because I was watching that scene and I was like, this is another one of these things where it's like the guy is so brilliant and the wife just can't understand his genius or whatever. And they kind of fight and she like goes off by herself. And then he comes in and basically lays out like what this game means to him. And like, I got to do this, and it won't mean nothing if I can't do it with you by my side. And it's like, okay, Kurt Russell kind of pulled it off. I mean, I don't think the real life Herb Brooks pulled anything like that
I don't think
off.
he said that at all.
No.
Yeah.
What's her name? Do we remember her name?
Patty.
Patty?
Yeah.
It is Patty.
Thanks for pulling it, because I wouldn't have remembered. And that would
I
have
wrote
just
it
looked
down.
like dicks.
I don't think she got enough credit for her role with him, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
I would say, yeah, and the movie should have done her better justice.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why it's a penalty in the movie.
But that's why I gave her. I even wrote on here MVP IRL, not
Yeah, of
MVP in the
course.
movie.
I'll accept it.
MVP
So
IRL.
I'll still give that one a minor, because it was more just a detraction from what was happening.
Yeah, and
It's
it's a
just
short,
just
it's a
annoying.
short
Just
scene
annoying.
Just
anyway.
annoying. Fair enough.
I'll get to my first major penalty.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's one, okay, so the scene where the guys pull what's his name? Tim Harrer?
Yeah.
Harrer?
Yeah, her.
He comes onto the team and he's
Mhm.
kind of like ruffling the feathers of all
Yeah.
the guys. They're like, who's this guy? And then those three or four players,
4 players.
take Herb off the bus and are like, hey, this is not right. Like, these are our guys. We can't just bring a new guy in. There is one guy, I think it's Verkoda. I might be wrong about who it is. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't tell which guy it is. But there's one guy who says, we're a family.
Oh,
And it's like,
yeah, that's brutal.
I'm like, dude, give
That
my
was,
man another attempt at reading that line.
Yeah.
Because,
it
he
was.
did him
I
so
think that
dirty.
was Rob McClanahan, because that was the guy that fought with Jack.
Is it?
Okay,
I
yeah,
didn't know
that was.
I didn't know
the guy that
McClanahan
fought.
was so doughy. I guess I didn't really.
He was
clock
the
what
dude.
looked like.
He was the dude that walked into the bar and was like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
I
"Why are you
don't- I
talking to
can't
him?"
remember.
Yeah.
He had.
I'm
that-
pretty sure that was McClanahan.
That is just the worst line delivery I've ever seen in my life.
We're
And
a
it's
family.
well, it looks like he didn't even know the camera was rolling. He's just like, he's like, why can't I do this? And he's like, we're a family. It's like he's not even mic'd up.
Yeah,
he's
like shouting down a
pretty
hallway.
wild.
Yeah. And also directly next to that is what is it, Rizzo? Did you do this? And he's like, this wasn't Rizzo's idea. What do you want me to do? Say I'm scared of getting cut?
I am scared of getting
We're all
cut.
scared of getting cut. That made me laugh so hard.
That's not a penalty though. That's a great line reading. Do you have another penalty?
The skate again scene where he's just.
You better watch your fucking
Yeah, you
mouth
better-
right
hold
now.
on, bro.
It didn't historically. It didn't end when Rizzo goes. Mike Rizzo,
Okay.
Team USA.
Did somebody just like throw up and die, and that's when it ended?
No, they say Herb just got tired and left.
He got tired.
Left them
huh?
skating, I
Yeah,
bet.
yeah. They skated for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then he was just like, "I'm done," and he just left.
That's barely a penalty in my opinion, because that's
Well,
No,
he's
no,
just
no,
saying
no.
from an
Yeah,
inaccurate.
No,
just from an
inaccuracy,
yeah,
okay.
just from an it's a minor penalty. That scene did a lot for the movie.
that's
Um,
yeah. We'll get to that scene later.
Yeah, it did a lot for the movie, and it's just, but that was the one thing. Oh, I have another one actually. About 50 minutes into the movie, there's a team film session, right?
Yes.
They're watching Russian practice. That is not a thing. How the hell did they get
Their
Russian
hands on
film?
Russian practice? Yeah.
practice film. Team.
What, they got a mole? Yeah.
I think it was women's
Well,
soccer.
the USA had spies in Russia.
Women's
using
A
women.
sign for Olympic research.
I didn't know the
This-
CIA's pockets ran that
This
deep, but
year,
yeah.
the women's Canadian soccer team coach got fired for spying on other teams' practices with drones.
Sure.
Like, that is, you cannot do that. How the heck do you get?
I don't know.
Dang, I didn't even clock
You
Yeah,
that.
neither did I.
You can get game film, but it was practice. They were
Yeah, right.
because they were running drills.
Good call.
So-
I didn't even notice that.
Major penalty there.
Yeah.
That is a major
I'll give
penalty.
you-
I'll allow
give you
it.
that.
Because the Russians, of all people, are not going to give up their hockey game
Oh, hell no,
practice
dude.
film.
They'll shoot somebody in the head over that.
I'm also just picturing all Russian practice footage, just like having that like Kremlin song, where it's like, oh. Do you have any more penalties, Ray?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I've got 2 more. Minor penalty for Al Michaels' hair. Just the
don't-
one shot of the
I was
broadcast
gonna
of Al
say,
Michaels.
I don't recall. I remember
He's got like the Jerry curl, and I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like the actual footage from them. If it is, tough. If it's a recreation, tough. Al Michaels' hair, minor penalty, 2 minutes, and then minor penalty just for the Russian coach's face.
All right, so I'll go on to the Russian coach one.
Yep.
His eyebrows kept taking me out. Like, it just kept taking me out. And I was like, this has to be, like, cartoonish overkill. Like, the guy probably had big eyebrows, so they did this. I looked it up. It's spot fucking on.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's, like, it's spot on. He's
Yeah.
just got caterpillars on his head.
Oh, that's
He
good.
looks like the Lorax, bro.
He does.
Like, it's fucking, it's out to here.
And he doesn't move the entire. He's just
Dude, and then when they
he's
win,
just looking over at Herb like.
and then Kurt Russell hits him with that, like, shit-eating, like, that, and then he just
Oh.
goes,
He just
I
gets-
lost it. I lost my mind.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the best part. It's one of the best parts too. Is when like he pulls the goalie, and they're like, he's freaking out, and he's like, he doesn't know what to do. It's like the best. Like, oh man, you just made a gargoyle balk. It's like so great. All right. MVP.
Okay, I
We
think
got a discussion.
We're, just
I
gonna,
have.
we're gonna say it on 3.
No. I've got 4 nominees,
Okay.
and we should. If you have different nominees, we should talk them out, and then we'll kind of zero in on one.
I'll hear you out.
Kurt Russell / Herb Brooks.
Of course.
It's like an option. O'Callahan, my jersey. Jim Craig.
Jim Craig was my other.
And then my 4th nomination is Jim Craig's dad in the stands.
Just the 2 scenes?
Just absolutely going wild.
He met
and,
him
like,
at the bus stop.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's in the movie for like 2 scenes. Yeah.
But like every shot of him in the stands during the final game, he was just losing his shit, and it is awesome. He's like, that's my boy. It's so good.
But they don't let a lot of people act in this movie other than Kurt Russell. Like,
He's
the only
actor.
It's
And he's the one that like made it
of
too.
course. But I'm saying just from a dialogue perspective,
Yeah.
just like nobody else talks other than Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell also kind of looks the part. Like he
Of course.
kind of looks like Herb Brooks.
Yeah. I didn't look up what
pretty
Herb Brooks.
close.
Oh wait, no, they show him at the end.
He
don't
looks
they?
like him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks close enough.
I
That
mean,
was a tough-
as far as picking an actor, that's probably as good as they were gonna do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
and somebody who can nail that. Is Kurt Russell from like the north?
I don't know
he
where
must
he's from.
be, right?
I thought he was like an LA guy, but I could be wrong.
Don't know.
I should know that. I feel like. All right, so who are you going with? I feel like I gotta go.
Are we talking outside of Kurt? Because the
Yeah.
answer is just Kurt.
Yeah, I think the answer is Kurt, but like
It's Kurt.
let's put it to the team. Is it anyone but Jim Craig?
I would pick Jim Craig as my
I
two.
think we have to pick Jim
Yeah.
Craig.
Yeah.
39 saves.
I don't know. Johnson had 2 goals in the final.
He did. It's also
Also, every time Rizzo talked, I lost my mind.
And Rizzo
Like,
scored the game winner.
Yeah.
That's pretty
and
big.
O'Callahan's got that dog in him.
he doesn't like to have that dog.
Played
in him.
hurt and then just comes off the bench and just trucks a guy. That's amazing.
I actually don't know. If
I
that
would
happened
definitely
as
give
well.
my MVP to the Russian coach's eyebrows.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Lorax.
Which
The Lorax.
both of them.
the one big one.
Yeah.
They don't
It's-
connect. They don't connect.
It's also crazy that like technically Eruzione did win, like
He hit the game-winning
hit the
goal.
game-winning goal, and he's like not really a big deal in the movie.
No,
Like I feel like
well,
a lesser
they-
movie that was like trying to be less accurate would like build him up to be like he was destined to make that goal or whatever.
But they were
they're
going
just
to
like
cut
no,
him.
yeah.
They were going to cut
I know.
him. He was talking about getting rid of him, and the fact that he scored the goal is supposed to be like the turnaround.
Which that's also so awesome. Like 5 seconds into the tryout, Herb just hands his assistant coach a piece of paper. Is like, that's the team right
We're
there.
supposed to be here for a week.
Yeah,
These
he's
guys
like,
have been
"No,
skating for
don't
an
need
hour.
it. I got 26. We got it down to 20. It's so good.
I'm sure he did that in real life.
Oh yeah,
I have no
absolutely.
idea. They
Well,
wouldn't
he
have put that in
chose
the
those
movie.
people on purpose. He knew what
Yeah.
they were doing. Yeah.
Which like some of them, I don't know how many of them, but like played for him
Yeah.
in like colleges and stuff, right? Do you
Yeah,
know what
'cause-
college
Yeah.
Herb
He,
coached
he
at?
was up in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact school,
Yeah. All right, so I think Jim Craig.
but
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
outside of Kurt Russell, we'll go Jim Craig.
didn't O'Callahan play for him? Because when he gets to him to say his name, he's like, "I played for you at University of whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, O'Callahan was it O'Callahan? Because O'Callahan played for Boston.
He could
I don't
have.
know.
I thought he was up north, but you could be right.
I don't remember.
Good. I'm glad we're crumbling. Move on. Let's
Either way.
continue.
All right, play of the game. Again, I've got nominees just like
Yeah, I've got my play of the game. It's from a movie perspective though, because it didn't happen in real life, and it was the skate scene
Of
where
course.
where
Again,
where
yeah.
Rizzo is just like
That's what I have too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I've got a few nominees. The first training scene, when it's like training camp starts and it's just like shot out of a cannon, just like they start training, I'm like, okay, hockey is the best sport
course.
ever. like they're just going so fast, and you got like that triumphant music. I'm like, this is a movie.
Yeah,
this
if
is
you-
cinema.
If you've never watched hockey, you should just watch this movie.
You get the gist.
Yeah.
Like you know what they're doing. Yeah.
And then you just get into it from there.
Yeah. Who is it that Herb has to cut?
Cox at the end.
Ralph Cox,
He's the
yeah.
last guy. There's Cox.
And okay, so that's one of my
That when he's like
nominees for play of the
"Thank you
game.
for
That
giving me all
scene.
you got. Yeah.
Thanks for giving me a shot. Thanks for giving me
Yeah,
your
give
very
me-
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
That was good.
That's the good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying it. I don't.
Yeah.
Also,
I
another
thought- I
one
didn't think it would be
I
this
really
hard.
enjoyed is the scene where the guy's got like he has the contusion on his leg, and he goes back and he just starts chirping at him. He calls him a candy ass, and he's like, "You want me to play on one leg? I'll play on one leg. I am a hockey player."
Oh my god, and
he's like, "That'll get him going."
he's like, bruise on your leg. That's an awful long way from the heart. And then he just sort of walks out. The locker room's just in bedlam. That ought to get him going.
Yeah, right. That was perfect.
It's
I
so
love that
good.
scene.
Okay. Thanks for giving me a shot. Thanks for the locker room speech.
That
Oh,
was
before,
Oh
yeah,
my
that was good.
god, such a good one. Kurt Russell is just acting his balls off in that scene. It's probably like that might be like top 5 locker room speech, if not number 1 with a bullet.
There are 2 lines that were said during this movie that I think they deserve a little like an honorable
Highlight,
mention.
yeah.
One of them is when the assistant coach and Doc are in the car at the gas station. They're waiting in line, and he goes, "Assistant coach, I can't remember his name." Anyway, he goes,
His name's also Craig. It was
Is it?
confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
he says something along the lines of, he's got a locker room full of guys that hate him, and Doc goes, "Well, maybe if they hate him, they don't have time to hate themselves."
Right.
I felt that.
Good
Yeah.
one.
I
It's a good
felt
line.
that.
It's good
And that's
coach.
exactly what
Yeah.
he was doing. Yeah.
I felt that. And the other one is, it's during the again scene where Herb says the name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Oh, yeah.
I felt
Of
that one
course,
too.
That's a
great
good
that
one.
was such a good line.
Yeah.
I don't think those were turning points in the movie necessarily, but both of those lines
No, great
stood
lines,
out to
bangers.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's chills. What you got, Ray?
Oh, most of them we covered. It's obviously the speech was a big one. Just like I'm tired of hearing about the Russian hockey team. They could beat us any other day, but it's not any day.
9 out of 10
Yeah.
games, but not here, not tonight.
Yeah, this is
It's
our
so
time.
good.
You go out there, you take it. Yeah, that was.
That mixed with like the before the third period where they're chanting USA and
Yeah.
it just tells them to like listen. That's
Right.
what you've done. Ooh,
It's good stuff.
That's America, baby.
good stuff.
So when he scores that tying goal and the
Yeah.
entire team mobs him on the ice, that usually doesn't happen. That actually happened in
Yeah.
real life. The entire team
Yeah,
just
you can
skated
tell.
out. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
And also that dude.
They just knew.
He tied
I
the
know.
game twice. That
Yeah.
was the same guy scored both of
But it
those
was the-
goals, and then Rizzo put it away.
Yeah, it was the
Erozione
third.
put it away.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
it was
Oh, his
the
name's
third
Rizzo.
the third goal. I think it was Johnson. Johnson scores, and then he, or no, was it?
Eruzione scores the winning goal.
Is
I
that
know
is that where he
Scored-
gets
yeah.
mobbed? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
No, he gets mobbed when they
The
tie
tie,
3.
yeah.
When
Okay.
they go threes,
Yeah.
that's when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire team skates off the
Yeah,
bench.
yeah.
That doesn't happen. The team
No,
stays on the
yeah.
bench. That
Oh, I
act-
got it right here. Buzzer beater to tie the first period. Mark Johnson goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That was
a great moment.
That was the second goal.
That's the second one. So that's when they mob.
No. I remember. I had to go. And, this is actually why I pulled the game up to watch it, because I got to that goal and I was like, "There's no way that the team mobbed him against the boards."
they did.
And they did. It was the middle of the period.
Oh, so it
It was,
wasn't.
it was
at
the
the
middle
buzzer.
of
Okay.
the third period. The team mobbed him and after the goal. It was crazy.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Which-
That should definitely be a delay of game, but
Yeah,
let it
but
ride.
it wasn't.
Let it ride.
They knew what they were seeing. So that was another O'Callahan. Okay, so O'Callahan coming off the bench and demolishing that one guy. I just
Of
love that
course.
so much. The buzzer beater to tie it in the first period. Mark Johnson's goal, and then "Do you believe in miracles?" I mean, sports calls.
Of course.
How do you beat it?
The buzzer beater is actually not as historically accurate either. It was.
Don't tell me that.
No, it was a buzzer beater. It was a buzzer beater, but they did not all go to. They didn't go to the locker room after. So
Oh.
what happened was they keep talking about the 1 second that was on the clock.
Yeah.
They put the 1 second back on the clock. 2 skaters and a goalie from Russia came out of the locker room. They dropped the puck. They all went back into the
okay.
locker room.
Got it.
But,
Yeah, it's
but
not-
but the announcers are like, I can't believe they're only going to send out 2 skaters. Blah blah blah. It's like
not very cinematic to
even with
put it.
even with 1 second left.
Yeah.
Also, just talking about scenes in the movie, the ending with the shot clock where it's like there's 3 minutes left and it keeps cutting still made me anxious, even though I've seen the movie before and this happened 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I was still like, are they going to do it? Are they going to win it?
That's just a great.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that like when they actually get to the "Do you believe in miracles" line, like I understand that like when it happened, do you, like Al Michaels saying, do you, like counting down, it's like 10 seconds, 8 seconds, it's gonna happen, 5 seconds, do you believe in miracles? Like, it's such a great sports call in the moment. In the movie, it's a little weird. The shot that it's like over is just like a shot of like a puck or something like that. And it's just like a little anticlimactic, even though right after that you see everybody's like reaction, and it's like the best moment.
I was
in
so
history.
focused on the line, I didn't notice what was happening in the
They
scene.
probably took that into consideration.
Yeah, I think that was their move. But I mean, the again scene, I think that's the play of the game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I mean that was the
absolutely.
turning point of the whole movie.
Of
And
course.
that's like the most memorable part of the movie. And then like right into like, who do you play for? It says USA. Like, hell yeah, baby,
But
let's go.
yeah,
the most-
bag it in, go home.
Yep.
Yeah.
The most Googled question about this movie is, did the again scene actually happen?
Yeah, which you're saying it did happen,
It
but
did.
not quite like
It
that.
did.
Yeah.
It did. It didn't. No,
It wasn't quite as inspiring.
It didn't end the way they ended it in the movie.
But from a movie perspective overall, I
was
think it's
perfect.
pretty accurate. No, I mean like to real life of
Oh,
what
sure.
happened.
Yeah.
Because most of the times they embellish.
You
This
have
is
to.
pretty. This was such a already movie by itself.
Oh, yeah.
That they didn't really have to do much Hollywooding it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this isn't like MVP moment. This is just something at the end that made me laugh. So you know how they do the still shots of everybody's heads and like what they're doing right now?
What do you
doing
got?
so
I wanted
everybody-
to talk about
well,
this.
Everybody's doing stuff, and it's all like frat bro jobs.
Yeah, it's all like
oh, yeah.
tech
Yeah.
industry and like
It's,
investment bankers
investment
and stuff.
banking, finance, real estate
Yeah.
development, and then it goes to Mark Wells, and it's like still working on his bachelor's in finance in 2004. This happened in 1980 when he was in college.
That poor guy
It's not working very hard. Yeah, I thought about just writing down what all the guys are
doing
doing.
1 credit hour a year.
If that.
But just everybody, and one of them was like an oral surgeon. That threw me through, like that threw me
Yeah,
through a loop.
but that's also really interesting because like imagine like you're just like some guy that works in like a bank, and then somebody's like,
But you played on that team.
That's what I'm saying.
You're in that
like,
picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how does it? You're like a new guy gets hired to the bank. It's like, oh hey, what's your name? It's like, I'm Mark Johnson. You know, I tied the tied the Soviet team in the
No,
1980
it's just
Miracle
some
on Ice.
young kid that doesn't know.
then he's like,
That
"Oh,
would
cool."
break my heart.
Yeah, and just like, all right, whatever.
Which like I
Hey,
think,
I'm Mark. Oh, hey, Mark. Like that's it. There's nothing else
He just
to
goes
it.
back to counting ones. Yeah.
which it's weird. Do you think like kids would watch this movie? I don't remember. Are kids the same as when we were kids? Like,
I don't know if like kids right now would.
I think
I feel like it's too far removed from when. I don't know.
I think if you play hockey, you watch this
Oh
movie.
well,
Yeah.
I think
for
any
sure.
any kid
or
that
anybody that's tangentially related, like into sports, I guess.
any kid that plays sports and is like loves sports has seen this movie. Like,
Well,
I
they,
remember-
they showed it to us at school. Granted, we were around the time when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like,
meant to
in
ask.
school,
Did you guys
but-
see this like right away? Did you see it in theaters?
No, I didn't
No.
see it in theaters.
I
No.
definitely saw it in theaters. Probably with my dad.
I don't remember seeing it in school.
They showed it to us in school.
Did they?
Yeah.
Uh,
And all the adults were like crying. I remember
Yeah.
that.
I remember rewatching it like I don't know 4 years ago. Bree had never seen it.
I think this is like the third time I've seen this movie. Was this most recent rewatch?
Yeah,
So
I've
first
seen
time
it-
as like an adult, I've watched it.
I watched it quite a few times as a kid, and I remember going to see it in theaters. Like my dad always took me to movies, and anytime there was a movie that I was like kind of interested in, but he was actually interested in, he's like, "Oh, thank God it's not a Star Wars! Like, let's go see Miracle." So I watched it, and like, I feel like as a kid, because I'm not like the biggest hockey guy in general, but like as
You
a
are
kid, I was
now.
this, yeah, but this movie's undeniable.
Sure.
This movie, this sports moment is like just so undeniable. It's like the perfect encapsulation of that moment, and like we were talking about earlier, I don't think you could watch just that game on YouTube and like get the same. I'm
Actually
glad
feel it,
this
yeah.
movie is like
Exists. Yeah.
put this moment in high resolution with backstory,
Sure.
with all the info that goes into it. I think it's just like
But
perfect.
go watch the game now. You might have a completely different feeling about it.
Oh, yeah,
because
way
it,
cooler,
it is
yeah.
actually pretty good hockey. I mean,
Yeah.
the televising
hard
is
to-
bad,
yeah.
but when you're watching it, you're like, this is high speed, low drag hockey. Like this
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah,
I think that kind of takes us into our next question, don't
Yeah.
you think?
let's rate it as a sports movie. We were talking about this off mic.
How do we rate it today?
How do we rate it? And we were saying, I guess it's got to be medals, right?
I guess
Yeah.
so.
The Olympics. So then gold is obviously the tippy top.
Right.
We were debating whether or not bronze should be the lowest distinction, or
I don't think we
No
have to
medals?
I
Or
don't think
banned.
we have to worry about that with this movie.
Yeah, I don't think we do. Yeah.
So we don't need to worry about going down that low.
But just for fun, what would the lowest rank?
No, not
know.
no.
DNF.
Either banned from the Olympics.
So
Did not finish.
So either Russia.
Just-
Russia is
yeah.
the lowest
No,
rank.
you have DQ, you have no medal, bronze, silver, gold.
Okay.
Who wants it?
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah,
The
go ahead.
movie's incredible.
Oh, you're gonna hurt me.
If
aren't
we're giving
you?
it a gold
You're gonna
medal,
hurt me.
if we're giving it a gold medal, that means it's perfect, right?
No, not necessarily.
So it just got a gold medal would be like if we're doing ranking. it
Yeah,
would be
it's
like,
it's whenever we talk about like movies or whatever, like I always try to like perfect for what the movie
For what it
sets,
is.
the rules the movie sets for itself.
as a sports movie,
yeah,
it's gold.
it's gold.
It's
I
gold.
agree.
As a movie, as just a movie, it's a silver.
Okay, I can accept that because like sports movies are inherently a little cheesy, a little melodramatic.
there
I
is-
think they can be tough.
And,
They can be tough to
there-
capture.
and there are some corny moments, of course, and
Yeah.
it's very Americana, very like.
yes,
Yeah.
it's pretty. Yeah, I
so
agree.
sports movie, top,
Yes.
gold. Movie as a whole, silver.
Well,
Yeah,
fair enough.
That's my ranking.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty similar. Although I would give it gold for both. I think it's a gold medal sports movie.
You're smitten.
I think it's a gold medal movie. Like, again, just because like you can't make this movie better. I know this is a sports movie and a sports movie, regular movie, whatever. But like, you can't make this movie better, and like, not giving it a gold is crazy to me. Because like for me, this might be one of the best sports movies ever made.
Sure.
Like, I can't think of something that's like, oh well, it's no this. It's like I think this is in the conversation.
I give it a gold medal as a sports movie. I'm also giving it a gold as a regular movie. I am not a movie buff like you guys are, so I always see movies completely different. Like you and I have had conversations about movies, and I'm like, I just don't get it.
Sure.
I,
Yeah.
I-
I get that.
I get this.
Yeah.
It was insanely entertaining.
It is entertaining.
It hit me in the feels more than once.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
It was almost exactly historically accurate with a few small
Which is huge. plus.
forgivable,
Yep.
forgivable
Yeah,
omissions.
absolutely
and-
forgivable.
yeah.
And they did a really good job showcasing the sport.
Yeah. I completely agree.
I just think from a movie perspective, just watching it, like I if I didn't like hockey, I probably would still love this movie.
It was.
That's
this
what
was
I'm saying,
This
yeah.
was a good one to start on.
Yeah.
Because we already we'd seen it before. We knew it was going to be good. We probably forgotten.
Well, when you pitched this, we
yeah.
were just stoked
Yeah,
about the
we
movie.
were-
We're like,
we're
yes.
already in. I was like, I haven't seen that in forever.
And now I have this jersey, even though it's summer here.
Yeah, dude.
Sweat.
Same.
It is.
Sweating.
Dying.
But I have an O'Callahan jersey. It's really cheap, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, so I think it's O'Callahan.
OC baby.
Yeah, Eruzione. This one was like $30. Eruzione was like $400, which is like
Really?
understandable, I guess. All right, so yeah, Miracle. That's Miracle. I think we did it,
Yeah.
and a total of 5 gold medals and 1 silver medal.
Yeah.
It's not a bad.
It's pretty
Not
good.
a bad
Pretty
haul
good.
for
I
the
don't know.
Olympics.
I don't know if we're gonna get one that high
Oh, we will.
soon.
I think.
We got to throw in some stinkers every once.
we're
in a while.
gonna.
Just
Yeah.
wait for Air
So-
Bud.
I was
Just
about
wait
to,
for
I was about
Airbud,
to say
yeah.
Airbud.
Triple gold medal. Never backing down.
Dude, eventually we're gonna get to Airbud.
It's not so sad.
Airbud 7th inning fetch is pretty interesting. Should we decide the next movie? Because we're not gonna do movies all the time.
No.
But should we just like decide what movie to do next? Right here, right now?
I think we can talk about it, but if anybody made it this far in the podcast,
Yeah, let us know.
I
Yeah.
want to know what they want to
Suggestions
hear.
would be cool.
Sure.
Yeah, your favorite sports movie.
A movie you'd like to see us talk about?
Yeah, a movie you've never seen that you want us to spoil for you. I don't know.
Yeah. Because this is like part of the exercise is that like I don't know sports like you guys know sports, but I know movies like you guys know sports. So we're kind of like melding the worlds
Yeah.
here.
I think it'll work.
Um,
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be fun. So I've got a few movies in mind if we don't get any suggestions, but
Sure, I got a couple in my back pocket we
Yeah.
can talk about. Yeah.
because I think
That
we
aren't
should
Airbud.
that
They aren't Airbud.
Although
Not one of the
Air-
7 Airbuds.
the original Airbud is basketball.
It is.
Because we did this for Greg because he's a hockey guy, and then I think we're gonna angle towards a basketball movie next.
Like Mike
Like Mike.
I think it's gonna be like Mike.
or like
Space
Mike
Jam?
2. Space Jam?
Yeah, so I can talk about the ramifications of Bugs Bunny in the NBA. That'll be great.
I wonder if there's probably like stat sheets for the game against the Monstars.
Oh, I'm
Bugs
sure
Bunny
I
got a
can
triple
look that
double.
up. Yeah. Yeah, Bugs Bunny was a pass first point guard. Easy money.
Bill Murray 1 assist and then out.
I have the Bill Murray Toon Squad jersey,
Yeah, you
so if we
do.
do that,
I've got Bugs.
I'm suiting up. All right, but I think that
All right, we
pretty
did
much
it.
puts a bow on stuff.
Yeah.
Greg, if you want to do our outro here.
First, let's give a round of applause to Tom for his first show. He did great. This was fun. Good job.
This was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks
cool.
for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
yeah.
Anytime you want. So, if that's okay with you.
We'll talk about it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on social media: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
Good.
At @GrayArea_sports.
Crushed it. Thanks for joining us. Take it easy.